morning. Welcome to the Emerson Unitarian Universalist congregation. It is so good to be together with you here in person and online. My name is Ayana Kafi. I'm today's worship associate. If you're joining us for the first time this morning, welcome. As Unitarian Universalists, we are people of diverse beliefs, but we share a common faith that every person is worthy of love, that what we do in this world matters, that we are connected to one another and to the earth. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. Whomever you love, wherever you were born, whatever language you speak, you are welcome here. Whatever your skin color, whatever your class background, whatever your range of abilities, you are welcome here. We're so glad that you chose our congregation as your place of worship this morning. We come together for worship in order to slow down and listen for the callings of our hearts, our spirits. We come together for worship so we can be reminded of our highest aspirations and continue to transform ourselves into our best selves. Today, we are doing Voices of Emerson series, where we have a guest speaker, Jeffrey Jacoby. Jeffrey is a published author. His book, Glimmer Mountain, is available in the Emerson Library, and he's been a massage therapist for 24 years. He joined Emerson in 2016 and is very active in many groups here, including the Story Troupe. He's a cellist, a fan of folklore and sci-fi horror movies and books. He and his partner, Bruce King, live here in Marietta. They love music, gardening, and spending time with their dog, Bailey. Oh, cute name. And now we pause to light our chalice as a symbol of our shared Unitarian Universalist faith. Our chalice lighting words are from Deborah Norville. There is a comfort in rituals, and rituals provide a framework for stability when you are trying to find answers. Thank you, Amara. And now, in the spirit of love and the beloved community, let's share in our congregational affirmation. We need not think alike to love alike. Let's greet and welcome each other to this new day. Those in the sanctuary, feel free to move around and offer greetings. And for those of you online, please use the chat to introduce yourself.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As Ayanna said, I am not Walter White, I am Jeffrey Jacoby. Rituals can add meaning to our lives. Rituals can help us focus our intentions and may help us to reconnect with whatever type of higher power that we identify with. The word ritual itself comes from the Latin word religio, which is the same word from which we get the word religion. It means to reconnect or relink or to bind again. So in this respect, the next question may be, to relink with what? Well, that is, of course, incredibly personal and entirely up to you. I think that it's interesting that to consider this word and the idea of relinking. So if the entire point to religion is to reconnect, it makes me think that throughout the week, when we're not in church, we are drifting away or unlinking from that which inspires us most. This could be nature or Christ or the Buddha, just whatever that higher power or presence is that resonates with you enough that you choose to go to a house of worship, like this one, to reconnect with it. While we are there, religio suggests that by our presence and participation, we are reconnecting with that inspiring energy, that force, that idea or individual that we might feel is larger than ourselves and worthy of worship. So, getting back to religio, is there a way to reconnect, to relink with that special higher power we have chosen when we are outside of church? Or do we have to wait for Sunday to roll around to go for a whole 6 days of unlinking? I'm here to say that you don't have to wait, and the way to reconnect is through rituals. And when I say we, I mean all of us at all ages. As you're going to hear in the story today, there are lots of rituals that families can do that include the kids. If you prefer the word tradition over ritual, the two are often interchangeable and very similar in meaning. I was very impressed when I researched the effect rituals can have on kids. A 50-year study done by psychologists proved that family rituals not only increase children's happiness and well-being, but also their sense of identity and even success in school. So, rituals are a win for everyone. All right, thank you, hymn singers, for your patience. Now please join us in rise in body or in voice as we join together in singing our opening hymn, which is number 389, Gathered Here.
All right, everybody, good morning. I'm over here at the piano. This morning's hymn is around, so if you thought you were going to sleep through the first half, nope, you got to think. So I have our hymn singers lined up in ones. Let me see the ones hands, the twos, the threes. These are your leaders. The ones are way over there. Can I see hands for ones? Everybody in that section? Great, your ones. Twos, middle. Three, my favorites. Don't tell the rest. We're going to sing this hymn twice through together, and then we're going to begin a round, and we're going to sing it twice through. So all you've got to think about is I'm going to sing this 4 times, right? When you finish ones, when you finish number twos, just repeat the last line. It's pretty easy. I think the words are on the screen. All right? I would say really think about the word mystery in this song. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in this strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Just number ones. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour. Number twos. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour. Number threes. Gathered here in the struggle and the wise. Gathered here as ones from the body. Gathered here in the struggle of the power. Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the struggle
Good morning, everyone. I'm Susan Ullman, and I'm deeply honored to be a member of the Emerson Pastoral Care Team. Let's pause now and reflect on matters of the heart for all of us. Thank you, Isabel, for placing the stones this morning. So we're going to come over here and stand by the stones. For this morning's ritual, let's have water and river stones. The stones are smooth. The stones have weight. They're indicative of life's pleasures, times of ease, and life's burdens, times of heaviness. The water receives these stones with ease and with calmness. Each week, you're invited to write a joy, sorrow, or concern in this book. It's usually on that clear podium over there, right inside the doors. Or email it to pastoralcare@emersonuu.org to be read at this time in the service. If you're online, we invite you to recreate this part of the service at your home or wherever you are. Place a stone in a bowl of water nearby to honor what's in your heart, please. Let's begin by placing 3 stones. The first, in honor of the Cherokee and Muskogee indigenous people who lived here before us. And then the second, for those wrongly enslaved here who labored right on this land. The third, for those who are hurting in current conflicts and wars that rage across our globe. Within our community this morning, we share a joy with some concern from March Price. I am so very grateful to the emergency department and the coronary ICU staff of Wellstar Kennestone Hospital, who over a 10-day stay aided my beloved husband James Huey in recovering from cardiorenal syndrome complications. Thanks to their effort, I was able to bring him home this week, where he continues to recover. Thanks to all of those who offered prayers and good wishes from Emerson. The support is a real great comfort to both of us. You remain in our prayers, both of you, March and Jim. From Douglas Futch. Many of you are aware that Michael Lucan's mother passed away in May. To honor her memory, an open house will be held Thursday, July 10th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Lucan's Futch home. And from Jen Sara, I'm glad to have members of the Chattanooga CUPS, Covenant of Unitarian Universalist Pagans, joining us today. Welcome, welcome. There may be things in our hearts that have not been expressed in these words that we've already stated. Would you please place another stone to honor that? And now, in thankful awareness, together, let's say the prayer of Buddhist loving kindness, the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness. Please say the words with me. They're on the screen. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be free from harm and suffering. May we all be well in body, heart, and mind. May we all be at peace. Blessed be.
There's been a last-minute change with Share the Basket. So I'm going to begin by reading a statement by our minister, Reverend Christina, that went out via newsletter last night via my cell phone notes app. Emerson's beloved in this congregation's sign and frame were vandalized last night. The sign boldly stated our UU values to all who drove by. Those who did this tried to disengage the frame from the ground but did not accomplish to do so. However, the sign was torn from the frame. Only a torn corner remains. The Cobb County Police have been notified and a report is in the process. We are in a moment when we as Unitarian Universalists are called to live our values out loud. Our sign reminded others in the community that they are not alone. Emerson's mission calls for the sign to be replaced. During the worship service today, we will have a special collection to replace the sign and redesign and strengthen the frame. The UUA president, the Reverend Dr. Sophia Benencourt, shared just last week at General Assembly that we are a people who make dreams of a better future real through concrete action. We have always found new ways to advance the values that we hold together. And I have every faith that our collective efforts can change the landscape of this hurting and beautiful world. It will take all of us in community to respond to these times. Our faith, our nation, our values, and our world demand nothing less. We will not be deterred. So it sounds like we have our directive, beloveds. So, the basket will now be passed. For those in the sanctuary, feel free to offer a donation or see a card in the basket for other ways to give. For those online, go to emersonuu.org and select the Giving tab to donate. Just a note, if you are donating via card or electronic means, please put in the memo line that this is for a new sign. Your generosity is greatly appreciated.
got me? Oh, there I am. All right, there was a whole lot of picking out the perfect lollipop going on back there, I could tell. You got to get the flavor you like the best, right? All right, it's time for a story for all ages, so can I please have the young and young at heart join me for a story, a 4th of July story about sparklers and watermelon. All right, lots of people today. This is great. All righty. Watermelon, yeah. It's not cut up, I'm sorry. It's just here for show right now. Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah, this is the time of year for watermelon, isn't it? All right, so today's story is called Watermelon and Sparklers, and it's by me. I did, yes. And it's about a girl named Alice. Oh, nice. I planned that. Alice was part of a family of 5. She had a mom and dad and 2 older brothers. She loved being a part of her family because of all the daily rituals they had. Every morning, the whole family would gather for breakfast, and as they ate, they would each share what part of their day they were looking forward to the most and what might be the least favorite part of their day. It was a great way to hear what everyone was up to and what they had coming for the day. Every evening, there were rituals as well. Monday night was new food night, when their mom would try out a new recipe. Taco Tuesday came next. Everyone liked that, especially if New Food Monday turned out to be a bust. Like when Mom served eggplant and only her brother Mark liked that one. Every Wednesday night was game night, Thursday night was movie night, Friday night was go to restaurant night, Saturday night was cooking together night. They would take turns every week choosing what would be the meal. Alice usually chose mac and cheese, her favorite. And then the kids would help Dad make the meal, so Mom would have an evening off from cooking. Sunday was trail day, and Alice's favorite. After church in the morning, Alice's mother would prepare a big picnic basket with sandwiches, chips, and cold drinks. They would pack it all up along with their big white dog, Charlie, into the SUV, and they would go to a nearby mountain trail. Alice loved to see the views from the top. All the houses looked so small. When they came back down, they would go to the picnic tables and just devour whatever Mom had packed. Hiking always gave them a big appetite. All the holidays, from Christmas to Halloween to St. Patrick's Day, each had their own rituals they enjoyed and made each holiday special. Alice's favorite holiday was 4th of July. Every year, her grandfather would show up in his... Oh, is it? That's a great time to have a birthday. Every year, her grandfather would show up in his noisy old car. He always brought a huge watermelon, fireworks, and sparklers. They would play cornhole all afternoon and have a cookout. As the sun began to set, all the kids would ask Grandpa, "Is it time for fireworks yet?" He would look up at the sky and say, "Not dark enough yet. If we eat our watermelon now, when we finish, it'll be dark enough." He would slice up the watermelon, and as soon as everyone had a piece, he would set up his fireworks. Alice really liked them, but her favorite part was after the last bottle rocket had been lit, Grandpa would say, "It ain't over yet." And he'd give all the kids a sparkler. Every year he brought a different color, and they wouldn't know what color it was until they were lit, and all 3 of them would run around waving them. Alice loved the way she could see her brother's sparkler lights, but they would be in darkness, as if the sparklers were flying around on their own. When Alice turned 12, her parents asked her if she wanted to spend her summer break with her cousin Janie, who Alice liked very much, so she was thrilled. Alice and Janie were very glad to see each other, but right away, Alice noticed that Janie's family was very different than her own. In the morning, there was no group breakfast. The girls went to the kitchen and fixed themselves cereal, and Alice wondered why nobody else was eating with them. "Oh, they never get up this early," Janie told her. "My mom sleeps late, my dad goes to work early, and my brother Josh usually skips breakfast." Alice wondered how on earth they would all know what was going on with the others if they didn't start their day like her family did and sharing their highs and lows. I guess they all get together at lunchtime and dinner, she decided. But both of those meals were different too. At noon, Alice and Janie went to the kitchen and fixed themselves sandwiches. She saw Janie's brother Josh in the living room, but he didn't look up from his phone much after giving her a quick wave. Gosh, Alice thought, I haven't seen Josh in a long time. I wish he was more happy to see me. As dinner time approached, Alice looked forward to all of them finally sharing in some of the same family rituals that her family enjoyed. But when she and Janie headed to the kitchen for dinner, they saw 3 pizza boxes open on the counter. Janie's dad said, "Hey there, Alice. I hope you and Janie are having fun. Grab a slice and join us in the living room." The TV was on. Josh was already finished and was staring into his phone again. Her mom and dad were both watching TV. They ate their pizza and didn't talk at all. The TV was too loud to talk over, so Alice tried to watch too, but she wondered why they weren't talking to each other, and it made her sad. Days went on like this, with Alice enjoying visiting with Janie, but she really missed all the wonderful activities that her family did, and she got very quiet and started wishing that she'd stayed at home. A week before 4th of July, Janie found Alice sitting on a swing in the backyard, crying. "What's wrong, Alice? Are you okay?" Alice said, "I miss my family. My grandpa must have gotten to my house by now, and we always have a lot of fun on the 4th of July. Well, what does your family usually do?" "Oh, we usually get DoorDash. Everyone just orders from whatever restaurant they want, and then we watch fireworks on TV." Well, most of us. Josh usually goes down to the basement so we can play video games. Alice nodded. It was about what she had expected, and another tear rolled down her cheek as she thought about what she'd be missing at home. Janie's mom was worried about Alice and called her mother to see if there was anything they could do to cheer her up. They talked for a long time and made a plan. Independence Day came and started just like all the others, so the girls decided to go walk in the woods. When they came back that afternoon, Alice had a huge surprise. The backyard, which had been overgrown the whole time Alice had been there, was freshly cut. Janie's dad was scrubbing down the grill, her mother was in the kitchen shucking corn, and Josh was setting up, could it be? Cornhole, Alice's favorite game. "What's happening? Are we going to have a cookout?" she asked Janie with excitement. Janie didn't know. She hadn't seen her dad grill in the longest time, and Josh rarely ever even came outside. "Hey," Josh said, "are you girls ready to play some cornhole?" The girls looked at each other in wonder. "Sure," Alice said, and they began to play. After a couple of games, Janie's mom came out with iced tea and lemonade for them. Alice was having the most fun since she'd arrived. Just when Alice thought the day couldn't get any better, they heard a car pull into the driveway that sounded familiar. So she ran around to the front yard in time to see her whole family getting out of her dad's SUV, even Charlie barking happily as he bounded over to her. Gosh, Alice thought, this is everything I always hope for every 4th of July. Well, almost everything. And they all went back to the backyard. A little while later, Alice heard another car, this one very noisy, clattering and backfiring its way into the driveway. Alice's heart beat a little faster. Could it be? She wondered and ran back around to the front of the house in time to see her grandpa getting out of his old car with a huge watermelon in his hands and a big box of sparklers. Now everything was perfect. The fun continued until it was dark and her grandpa served the watermelon. They lit fireworks, and when they were gone, Janie and Josh said, "Wow, that was great! So much better than on TV, but it's too bad it's all over." "It ain't over yet," Grandpa said as he came up to them with his huge box of sparklers. They gathered around a candle to light them. Alice always loved it when they lit them at the same time. They put the tips into the flame, and no one ever knew whose sparkler would light up first or what color they would be. They all stood quietly looking into the flame when suddenly Janie's hissed and began sparkling, neon pink, then Alice's neon purple, and then the rest, all different colors this time. With Charlie happily barking and chasing them, they ran around the backyard making huge circles with their arms, laughing and shouting as they lit up the backyard with the crackling sparklers. Josh bent the end of his so he could twirl it around in a tight little circle. Alice had never seen anyone do that before, so she tried it too. From that summertime onward, a new ritual began in her family. For the 4th of July, both families would gather together. The next year, Janie's family came to Alice's house, and they did it there. But no matter whose house it happened at, it was always Alice's favorite holiday, and she couldn't wait till the next year. And Grandpa always brought watermelon and sparklers. Hey, do any of you guys have anything fun you do on 4th of July? Oh, what do you do? You go to your grandparents' house? Oh, that's fun. Are they far away? Oh, that's nice. You get to see them. That's perfect. What do you do? Hold on one second. Oh, Olivia's family's going to be going out to dinner for 4th of July. What's your question?
Where do you get those sparklers?
Yes, I'll go to a fireworks store, and you have to show ID. I would love to distribute them, but that's something you have to ask your parents for. But they're really fun. What do you do?
I help take pomegranate popsicles and sit on my playset, and then we watch fireworks because we don't need to light them because already million people are doing it in our neighborhood. And
Yeah, that's how it.
we try to go to bed.
Oh, nice. They make pomegranate popsicles and watch fireworks in their neighborhood because so many people do them, they don't have to do them themselves.
This year we're gonna go to my grandma's house next week, and we're gonna spend the 4th of July.
Oh, that sounds great. More people spending time with their grandparents. That's great. All right, shall we sing all rise and sing our song of dedication? So, our anthem today is called Charlotte's Farewell, or Mother Earth and Father Time. You might know it as that. And it's one a lot of you probably know. Charlotte's Web has always been a favorite of mine, and this song comes from the movie, which is a rare case of the film being just as amazing as the book. I was so glad when Julia agreed to share it with us today, both joyful and bittersweet. It is a contemplation of how fortunate we all are to be here, a part of the earth, even if it is very brief.
Good morning. How very special are we for just a moment to be part of life's eternal rhyme. How very special are we to have on our family tree Mother Earth and Father Time. He turns the seasons around, so she changes her gown, but they always look in their prime. They go on dancing their dance of everlasting romance. Mother Earth and Father Time. The summer larks return to sing. Oh, what a gift they give. Then autumn days grow short and cold. Oh, what a joy to live. How very special are we for just a moment to be part of life's eternal rhyme. How very special are we to have on our family tree Mother Earth and Father Time. Thank you.
What happens when a society no longer embraces powerful mythology?
What we've got on our hands. As I say, if you want to find what it means not to have a society without any rituals, read the New York Times.
And you'd find?
Well, the news of the day.
Wars,
young people who don't know how to behave in a civilized society. I imagine 50% of the crime is by young people in their 20s and early 30s that just behave like barbarians.
Society has provided them no rituals by which they become members.
There's been a reduction of ritual. Even in the Roman Catholic Church, my God. They've translated the Mass out of the ritual language into a language that has a lot of domestic associations. So that, every time now that I read the Latin of the Mass or something like that, I get that pitch again that it's supposed to give, a language that throws you out of the field of your domesticity, you know? The altar is turned so that the priest's back is to you, and with him you address yourself outward like that. Now they've turned the altar around. It looks like Julia Child giving a demonstration, and it's all homey and cozy.
And they play guitar.
They play guitar. Listen, they've forgotten what the function of a ritual is to pitch you out, not to wrap you back in where you have been all the time.
So ritual that once conveyed an inner reality is now merely form. And that's true in the rituals of society and the personal rituals of marriage and religion.
Well, with respect to ritual, it must be kept alive. And so much of our ritual is dead.
Impression on me when I first saw the power of myth many years ago. I know as during this time I've spent at Emerson since 2015, I've talked to so many people who've also been inspired by Joseph Campbell, so I hope you enjoyed that clip. I was in my late 20s, so his assertion that young people and society in general have diminished rituals, which in turn makes them struggle to find their place in life and leaves them feeling unconnected to it all, unlinked, really resonated with me. At that time in my life, I felt very unconnected to society in general, and I wondered, maybe I need rituals in my life. How can I incorporate rituals into my daily life, and where do I find these rituals? Well, as you can imagine, that was a long time ago before YouTube, and now that YouTube's around, there are dozens of rituals you can follow on YouTube, so that's a great place to find them. But I've been very happy to discover that many rituals come directly from you. And some of the most impactful rituals I've experienced have been the ones that I have developed myself. Campbell said that participation in rituals reconnects you with the truth that already exists in yourself. He stated rituals are important in connecting us with the universal patterns of the human experience. He also said that the lack of rituals in a society creates youth who are unfocused and unsure about who they are. He said that specific rituals help young people to know that they are growing up and they are transforming from being a child into an adult, ready to participate in the grown-up world. Many young people who do not get rituals may do things on their own to make this journey. I know I did. Tattoos and piercings are both ritualistic acts that may help young people to feel that sense of transformation. It is a way to alter the body in a way that they have elected to do on their own. Having a distinctive hairstyle, a bright color, or maybe extensions or like a mohawk, some kind of impactful hairstyle that does not look like everyone else's and lets everyone know who sees you that you are an individual. As I wrote this part of my message, I thought about my niece Erin. Oh, there she is. She has an incredible sense of style that's all her own, and I always love seeing her latest look. It's different every time I see her. This was her Renaissance Festival ensemble. And as you can see, she never looks like everyone else. A fierce individual, and proudly so. So go, Erin. Choosing to go by a different name than the one that you were given at birth is another type of ritual that can be helpful and is being done a lot more often now. Trans people often have a new name that they go by as part of their ritual in becoming the gender they identify with. They even call their original name their dead name, meaning the ritual transformation has been completed, leaving them a new person, and the old one no longer exists. These are all great places to start as you discover who you are and in what way you fit into the world, and also how you would like to be perceived by others. But you do not have to be trans to choose to have a new name. Anyone can do this, and it's a great way to explore and see if this new name suits you. If it does, then great. If not, you may end up going back to your original name, but that journey of wearing that new name for a short period of time can be very powerful. Kids also respond to the ritual of travel. Making pilgrimages to the same place at the same time of the year will be very meaningful to kids. If you have a family reunion, or your travel, sounds like some people do, they're going for the 4th of July we heard about, that's great. Or your travel includes a lot of the same people or relatives, it gives kids a perspective on how they fit into the family. They see their relatives every year, and if one passes away especially, their absence will be very evident to the kids. Here at Emerson, we have many rituals for kids and youth, like being part of the chalice lighting ritual, and of course the ultimate Emerson ritual, the bridging ceremony, which I've always really appreciated. As an adult, we have the opportunity to participate in all sorts of rituals. Every time the choir goes on its retreat to the Mountain Retreat Center, we do a lot of work with a vocal clinician, and we work very hard on a lot of music. But Saturday night, we have a party. And one of my favorite parts of the weekend is when Karen Abel leads us in singing the Moose song. Yeah, there's the choir people are laughing. It's a really funny call and response song. I never can remember the words, or else I'd do a little bit, see if we could do it now, but I never remember it, and Karen usually has to refer to her phone anyway, but we all sing and act it out, and it's a lot of fun. We all laugh during this, and it's a ritual that we can all participate in. I've always loved this, but I wondered if there was any significance to it. So one time I happened to be in Kathy Middleman's office with Karen Abel, and I said, oh, this is a perfect opportunity to find out, where did that Moose song come from? And they looked at each other and said, I don't know. It's just something that happened one year, and everybody loved it, so we do it every year now. And as long as Karen is willing. So, and thank you. I don't know if she's here today, but thank you, Karen Abel, for all those Moose songs over the years. So anyway, my point here is that music or action, any action happening during the ritual may be just an excuse for a group of people to have a bonding moment by having this fun shared activity. Many rituals are often associated with church, but not always. I was raised Catholic, and I was always impressed by the rituals of the Mass. From the time I started going to church, I considered it a privilege, and I knew all of the prayers, when to stand, when to sit, and when to kneel. I knew the silent prayer to say to myself during the consecration, and I always felt that feeling Campbell mentions about being pitched out of my normal experience. They would ring bells during the consecration of the host we would soon partake of, and I could feel the importance of this. Although I am no longer Roman Catholic, it is the foundation of my spirituality, and I deeply respect the Mass. Mr. Campbell was kind of harsh on the Roman Catholic Church in that clip we saw, so I just want to say to anyone who is Roman Catholic that my intention in sharing that clip was not to point out anything they are doing incorrectly. I have never seen a Mass in Latin, and I have absolutely no problem with guitar being played during a service. In fact, I love it. Hey, Peter, I miss you. Shout out to Peter Golbitz. And everyone in the choir knows that there is never a problem with Julia Child. Am I right? Yeah. But I did appreciate Campbell's example to make the point about rituals needing to have an element in them that removes you from your normal life. Like Campbell says, it pitches you out of your normal, comfortable life and helps you to understand that a sort of magic or transformation or revelation is occurring. If every bit of the ritual is part of your regular day, there is no distinction and it will have no impact. So there must be a sensory experience of some kind that will let you know that something important is happening. Pausing for grace before a meal is a good example. We all stop our conversations, maybe close our eyes, maybe hold hands or have folded prayer hands, and then I'll repeat a grace or I'll listen to one individual share meaningful words. At the end, we open our eyes knowing that we are all about to share a meal, and we take the words and the feeling with us as we eat. It makes a meal much more of a shared experience than if everyone just builds a plate, plops down somewhere, and starts shoveling in the food. So the pitching out always has to be part of it, and sensory things work very well for this. For scent, burning incense or sage works, or diffusing essential oils like frankincense or lavender. For hearing, music is a great option, especially percussion in my opinion. I love drumming, but any music may work if it contains a mind-expanding idea. I could feel it as Julia was singing the anthem. I think we probably all could feel it. It was beautiful. Thank you again, Julia. It was beautiful. For touch, you can hold hands or just assume a special posture, like kneeling or clasped hands and eyes closed. For sight, you may want to wear a special color or a stole or a robe and be near meaningful objects that you may gather for an altar, but more about gathering altar objects in just a minute. Every day of my life, I do rituals. My therapist told me after I was diagnosed with a mild case of OCD that doing rituals daily is a very creative way to channel OCD energy. Many of the rituals I do are things I've learned from others, but as I mentioned earlier, my favorite ones are the ones I've developed myself. Ringing bells like I did at the beginning of the service does many things. Calls us to attention. Maybe sounds an alarm of some kind or the start of a school day maybe. But the reason I ring bells at the end of every workday at my massage office is an energetic one. When I'm doing massage therapy, I am helping to relieve people of their stress energy, tension energy, pain energy, and more. People come to see me to get rid of those things. When they come in, they may be bent over, shoulders rolled forward, sad facial expressions. But they're visibly different when they leave. They're walking more upright, more smiles, more wellness. So, where did that stuff go that was weighing them down? Most energy teachers will tell you that when it leaves your client, it lingers in your treatment room. Many therapists take on some of the symptoms of their clients, and we must do something to avoid this. My polarity teacher told me the best way to dispel negative energy is to ring a bell. She said that as we remove this energy from our clients, it definitely lingers in the room, in corners, under your table, and if you walk back into it, or just stay there long enough, it will settle on you. So I ring my bell at the end of every day. Because almost any kind of noise will move energy out as long as you accompany it with some form of specific intention. I use a shaker first. I walk around my table and count to specific numbers that have significance to me. Then I say my thanks for the day. I speak the name of every client I worked on. I say I am grateful for all the nice people who come to see me. I'm grateful for my workspace and my landlord, and I'm grateful for the work I do. And I appreciate my thoughtful neighbors. I walk around my table then, shaking the shaker as I count to 22. In numerology, 22 is a master number, and it's my personal number, so it has significance for me. I put the shaker down after that and pick up the bell. I walk around the room and ring it in every corner, under the table, and anywhere it looks like things could collect or get stuck, thus cleansing my office for the day so that when I return the next day, there is no lingering energy or negativity waiting to pounce on me when I come back in. So, a little more now about building an altar. I have an altar in my office. It's a small shelf that hangs on my wall. Oh, there we go. In the nooks, I've placed objects that are meaningful to me. I have a small bottle of holy water from Lourdes where Bernadette said she saw visions of the Virgin Mary, and the spring started to flow there. My parents traveled there years ago, and my brother gave me one of the bottles they brought back. I also have a fragment of the Berlin Wall. When it was brought down, there was a wonderful sense of peace in Germany as this divider was finally destroyed. I have a mezuzah from my Jewish friend Paul. It's from South America. Another friend of mine traveled across Asia, worked with a medicine man who gave him a tiger claw. And when he arrived back in the US finally, he felt compelled to give it to me, saying that many of the healers he visited in Asia had a tiger's claw, and that he felt like I needed to have one. These items may seem like obvious choices because of their provenance, but I have others that are meaningful just to me. I planted a buckeye tree many, many years ago, and when I did, a friend I used to work with came by on a whim unannounced to say hello. She had never come by to visit me ever. So that was kind of unusual anyway. So we chatted as I dug the hole for the tree, and she was about to leave when she asked me what I was planting. When I told her a buckeye tree, her eyes got really wide, and she said, "Really? That's wild. My family holds buckeye trees in a very special place. My grandfather said they were very lucky, and we had several in our backyard. My grandfather always walked around with a few of the buckeyes in his pocket, and he insisted on being buried with a stick in his hands from a buckeye tree." I loved hearing this story, and I knew that the timing was unmistakably auspicious, and the first time it formed buckeyes, I saved many of them and have several on my altar. I have a perfect conch shell I found on the beach the first time I was invited to Bruce's family reunion. It's a very special gathering that takes place in his family, and I was very moved and happy the first time I was invited to attend. There are many fragments of shells on the beach, but this one was absolutely perfect. During my second spirit animal meditation, I discovered that eagle was my animal, and the next weekend I found a cast iron eagle in a store in North Carolina, which I have there. My niece also made me a little pom-pom eagle that I keep on there. It's small, but you can see it on the top. Oh, picture's gone. It's little, you probably couldn't see it anyway. There are other items, but you get the idea. Your altar can contain any sort of item that has meaning to you. Gathering them in one place gives them energy, especially if you look at them often and handle them from time to time. Building an altar can be fun and fascinating, but do you need one to have a ritual? Absolutely not. It may add to your ritual, and as you gather the altar items, you may find that more items come your way from these unexpected places like I did, or from people you haven't seen in a long time. But, like I said, an altar is not necessary, just an option if you have a sacred place you want to bring extra energy to. Before I finish, I have a few more things I need to say about scent. Scent may be the most powerful part of your rituals. The sense of smell is the one that most often triggers memories of events. So if you diffuse a certain oil, like lavender or patchouli, or whatever you choose, during a ritual, then the next time you smell that oil, you will reignite or relink with the intentions of that ritual. So scent can add another powerful layer. If you wear the scent after the ritual, you'll be reminded of the intentions of your ritual all the time. You probably might be wondering, why didn't he use any scent in his rituals today? So none of them contain scent because this is a really big group, and there's always a risk that someone may have an allergy to whatever you use. So it's always good to be mindful of others. But if you're by yourself or with a small group that is okay with whatever you use, I highly recommend using a scent element. The most important thing to remember about rituals, besides including an element that pitches you out, is that you may make up the rules. If you create the parameters, the actions, the sensory elements, and do them consistently, you will be amazed by the impact. They become more meaningful if done consistently, so doing them daily will help you connect with them on a deeper level. Rituals can bring comfort and a sense of order to your life during challenging times. I've definitely found this true when things are really falling apart and you feel like you have no hope and like nothing's going right. Just go back to that ritual, and as you're doing it, you'll feel yourself calm down, and at the end of it, you feel like, okay, I got this. I've mentioned a lot of items that I use in mine, but yours may be completely different. Author Michael Leach says the most significant ritual he has every week is with his daughter. Every Sunday morning, they make gluten-free chocolate chip pancakes as they listen to traditional Hawaiian music. He said they both feel magic every time they do this, and they both look forward to it all week long. Your ritual may include any kind of music or any kind of activity. Your intention and connection to whatever the ritual is designed to support is going to be the thing that gives it weight and, well, magic. I can feel magic in the rituals I've done for a very long time. I can feel an internal change happen when I do some of my rituals that lets me know that I have indeed relinked with my higher power. It's always there, but doing rituals helps us to keep those connections in place until we can all gather again here in this sanctuary for the chalice lighting, the stone placement of joys and sorrows, and all the other rituals that are part of our UU service here at Emerson that help us to reconnect and hopefully stay connected. All right, so if I could have the hymn singers back up here. We have our closing hymn. Oh, thank you. Hymn number 1066, Meditation on Breathing.
That's 10:09.
Sorry.
I think someone got really pitched out. So this morning's closing hymn is Meditation on Breathing. It's a wonderful ritual. We'll sing through it 6 times, but I'd like all of us to sing the drone underneath twice through. It's very simple. You'll see it at the bottom. I think it says breathe in, breathe out. It's very easy. After that, we'll sing through that twice, and I'll give you the cue. We'll pick up the melody, when I breathe in. And then after we sing that twice, whoever knows the descant, which is lovely, we'll have some singers up here give it to you, join them. All right, so we're just going to start out with the breathe in. Here we go. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Do that again. Breathe in, breathe out, When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Just can't. I breathe in peace. When I breathe in, I breathe out. Breathe in, I breathe out. Breathe in, I breathe out love.
In closing, I want to be sure and say thanks again to Julia for lending her voice to this service. It was absolutely beautiful. Thank you also, yes, thank you. That's kind of nice round of applause for Julia. A cappella even, no piano, it's just her. That was awesome. And thanks also so much to all the hymn singers today, and thank you very much, Ayana. Thanks, Amber. You inspired me to do this talk. She asked me a question about how I deal with, touching people for a living and the energy, exchange. And I wrote this long email, and I realized, hey, this might make a good sermon sometime. So thank you, Amber. That gave me a really good idea for this. And thanks to Keith and the AV team, especially since I kept sending them stuff up until Friday night. Thank you, Bruce, for coordinating all. Yes, thanks, AV team. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Bruce, for recording all the music and for playing me the recording Julia made of Charlotte's Farewell when I asked him what a good anthem would be for today's message. Great choice. And since I began my message with Joseph Campbell, the man who put me on the path to discovering the importance of rituals, I'm going to end with words from him as well. A ritual is the enactment of a myth. And by participating in the ritual, you are participating in the myth. And since myth is a projection of the depth wisdom of the psyche, by participating in a ritual, participating in the myth, you are being, as it were, put in accord with that wisdom, which is the wisdom that is inherent within you anyhow. Your consciousness is being reminded of the wisdom of your own life. I think ritual is terribly important. The function of ritual, as I understand it, is to give form to human life, not in the way of a mere surface arrangement, but in depth.
Amara, if you could come up and help me with this bit. As our chalice is extinguished this morning, we extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again. Thank you, Amara. Please join us again next week. It's 4th of July weekend, so there will be no speaker, but our labyrinth will be set up here in the sanctuary in a contemplative environment, and you can come and walk the labyrinth. And please come and join us July 13th. Our Voices of Emerson series continues with our guest speaker, Ayana Kafi. And I am a community-oriented person, so please come and join with me, lift me up so I can deliver my message called Don't Touch My Hair. Is named after the incredible song by Solange Knowles. Take a moment to listen if you want. She's an incredible artist. And for second hour, we've got some cool stuff going on. Of course, we have service reflections right in here, but we also have Tarot Share in room 209. Join the pagan group for an informal gathering where we'll talk tarot and practice doing readings for one another. That sounds amazing. As our service ends, go now in peace and take peace wherever you go.